It's time for the world to know of our presence. No more disguises, no mercy. The time has come for my master's arrival. Decepticons, mobilize. It is time. Decepticons, mobilize. It is time.
Hey guys, Jake from Full Access UTV, and today we're going to discuss the KRAKEN update, part 4. Hey guys, long time coming on an update for the KRAKEN. It's actually been about 10 months. Man, same story as the last update on the KRAKEN KRX buggy. Dude, no time, you guys. Thanks to the huge support of you guys, we have been so busy. It's been awesome. I've been obviously coming out a lot of new stuff that we've been working on all year long. You know, that's just now coming out, which is kind of crazy, but that's how busy we've been. I haven't had time to work on it. I did a ton of stuff back in February, March, April time, May, haven't had time through the summer. But hey man, I did a bunch of things. I thought, why not show it to you guys and kind of discuss what we're gonna do with it. So today, right now, I'm gonna show you guys kind of the sheet metal work on it. Had a lot of the sheet metal, a little bit of the sheet metal was in the last video. The front end's all there. Everything's kind of hidden in there, blocking in the fuel tank, protecting it. Got all the side panels on, and obviously it's wrapped. We still actually have to rewrap it because the colors in the wrap weren't correct. So we have a new one here, just don't have the time. In the back, you guys are going to totally see everything's encapsulated and surrounded in the back. So we get that ram air effect through the intercoolers, the oil coolers, the radiator, everything else. But so today we're kind of, you're not going to be able to see much of what we did. The big issue with what I did is me remembering it because it was so long ago, but I even had to watch, part 3 today and just go, hey, what is it I really did, man? You guys, I don't remember. But today, with the help of the Autobots, they're going to disassemble, and while I'm talking to you guys, these guys are going to break down a car, because if you have a race car, you got to be able to do race prep, and you got to be able to do it quick. So my lovely wife Angela and my boyfriend Chris, my buddy Chris, he's gonna help us out. These guys are gonna tear it down while I'm talking, but yeah, so we're not gonna be able to get the car to the lake bed and race the race this year. And it's not something I planned on. It is just something that happens, but hey, at the end of the day, man, I do stuff, I do it at 110%, and I just don't believe, even if this car was done today, that it would be a good idea to go try to race King of the Hammers and put my name behind it. So unfortunately, we've done everything in our power to try to get through this summer and get everything to the point we could get this car done, but it didn't happen. So with that said too, we're gonna try and get this car on the lake bed, actually running and driving and out wheeling this year. Because that's the main thing, is this is a wheeler and a race car. So it will have 2 completely different setups. It will have a full dual idler portal setup from SuperAtv. If you guys ever get it, and then it'll be on the 39s. And then for race setup, we're probably gonna be running a 35 or a 37. We'll have no portals on the car, and that'll be our race setup. We're gonna go out and do Yerington races, Fallon Desert races out here with Vora, and get some miles in the car, see what's working, what's not, and be able to do all that testing before we actually go to King of the Hammers next year. So that's our big plan. So this year, we'll be able to enjoy the car. We're gonna take it down to Sand Hollow, we're gonna go to Moab, but we're gonna do a lot of fun trails, and the big thing we're gonna do with this car is we're going to do buggy things with it. So I'm going to try to keep up with my buddies in the same kind of car. And I mean, they have the buggies that I built them. They're 108-inch wheelbase. They have 40s, 42-inch tires and rear steering. And of course, they're a buggy. They're Honda engine powered and automatics, good crawl ratios, all that. We're trying to do the same thing in this car, but with 39s. We're going to have more ground clearance in certain things, but man, I'm not going to have that rear steer. So, you know, me and Matt laugh back and forth that, you know, he doesn't think I can keep up. And I know there's so many things he won't be able to keep up because he doesn't know the UTVs and I know both sides. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm actually looking forward to this year and actually being able to take her out and do some things in her. So I guess that's something else to be said. You guys have kind of seen I got the crawler KRX up for sale. Man, that's been the one I've been out beating on. Now I got the family 4-seater, which is awesome. That thing is killing it in the rocks and doing other things. So I decided, hey, I need to put all my time, energy, and focus into this car. So that's, if you've been wondering, that's why I'm selling that car. So that's it. I mean, this thing's a monster. Everything's coming together really good. We actually just did a upgrade video. We're doing our new chromoly shaft right now. New billet carrier bearing. We're doing the motor mounts, and we're going to do a bunch of things on this car that needed to be upgraded. So those are the little parts and pieces we're doing. But one of the things I'm going to do right now is I'm probably going to take this camera, walk over, and I'm going to show you guys the things I did and give you guys more of an up-close detail. So let me grab that camera. So since the Autobots have left the front end, I'll bring the camera up here. As you guys can see, the Walker shocks finally showed up. This has been a huge wait. We didn't get them till like into the first quarter in 2022, but they're here. So these things are awesome. Fully adjustable reservoirs, so they're clockable, so I could get my angle so I don't have any issues at full bump and stuff. Of course, we got that awesome little Transformers logo up front, and that theme is kind of thrown through this whole car. As you guys can see, this is a custom fuel cell built in the front. And I'm not remembering the math, but I think it was 18 gallons. And so you got your fill, we got your breather valve, and you got a rollover vent valve for the rules and everything. But you guys can kind of see throttle's all in, siren assembly's in. Everybody's kind of seen the steering system. So it's a full hydraulic, 2.5-inch ram, and the actual rack is connected to it. So something that Ross has been coming up with, works out pretty good. So it's full hydraulic, but it also has full manual control. So you guys see there, I can see the little servo or like an orbital, and that's where your power lines. Let me see if I can get a better shot there. This is where your power steering lines will come in. So you have pressure in, out, left, right, and then I have full control 1-to-1 to the steering wheel by the shaft. So it should be really safe. You know, one of the things that we had in the Bomber was full hydraulic steering, and the steering wheels always kind of move and they're never truly center. So by them not being truly center, you get a little weird feeling hauling ass through the desert. So that'll be gone by doing that. Of course, SuperAtv arms, as you guys saw, got all custom tie rods on there to go to our steering system. Trick little thing we did in the front. Pretty much these are scratch resistant acrylic panels in the front, so from the driver's seat I can see right out and see the rocks, so I shall have a lot better visibility. And matter of fact, let me do a step back. I hear the Autobots are finished, so that's the car naked. Doesn't take very long to get her stripped down. This is where it needs to be for race prep if you're doing any kind of inspections or anything else. Did a ton of work back here. Obviously, you guys have seen the custom exhaust system in here. It's like a dual muffler system. Should be plenty of pressure, or plenty of release of the pressure for that supercharger, and have a good sound. So hey, I'll say this too. Let me throw this out there. I got a few radio control KRX 1000s in the shop. If you're the first person to name the year, make, and model vehicle that this exhaust came off of, and mention in the comments, guys, and you're the first person to do it, I'll send you a free radio controlled KRX 1000. How about that? That sounds like fun. So you see all the piping and everything is done for the supercharger. A lot of TIG work, a lot of ducting to keep things nice and clean. Radiators in the back window, of course. All the ducting's there. This is pretty much our air inlet for the clutching system. And one thing we did too, I'll get on the other side, is you got an air intake system that we want to do something a little different for the car. So you got this tube, and the other part, Chris is like, oh man, I forgot to put it back on. So we got this part here. And of course I can't do it with one hand, but it pretty much gives you a ram air effect. So we're going to be able to just ram air right around our helmet directly into that inbox, and it's going to force it down through our custom system, going into a custom-made air box that's in the back here. And we have a massive, massive uni air filter in this thing, and it's completely changeable, it'll be quickly done. And from there, get around the tire here, you guys can see it comes out, goes directly into the supercharger there. So that's where we're getting all our fresh air. So, you know, ram air effect is one of those things that when I was racing UTVs, you could actually tell a difference. We were doing the same stuff in the Bomber, but in the UTV, you could tell a difference. So we're of course tying it in. Of course, we got our full Access UTV, our center dump fuel rail, the air box. I mean, it's all tidied up in here. The main thing this car needs is a lot of plumbing and wiring done. But this is one of the biggest challenges that I've had on this car, and I'm about to show you guys this. Maybe even grab a light. But this is the supercharger system from Kraftwwerks. Awesome system. The only thing we've been hearing of any issues with it is pretty much that this crank adapter, I'll hit it with the flashlight right there, they come loose. We're working on a cure for that, and it should be out in the market not too soon. But other than that, I had to figure out how to mount a huge aftermarket power steering pump. And as you guys can see, this is the bracket and pulley system I came up with. Pretty trick, pretty indifferent, but it works. So as you guys can see too, so this pulley, and that belt's a little out, this pulley is grabbed by over three quarters of it is grabbed, so less likely to get any kind of slip here. Did the same thing on the supercharger. We got a ton of grip going around that supercharger crank pulley, and same thing in the back. So we shouldn't get any slipping and everything. Everything seems to be running true, and it's fully adjustable, and it's sitting on a tensioner here, which tensions the whole system. So it should work out really well. Of course, you've got, if you know anything about superchargers, you got the supercharger oil cooler. It's kind of back in there. And I've got that mounted up on the chassis. And then of course you need a reservoir for the power steering, so I kind of hid that in here. Got a full aluminum reservoir, all sealed up, ready to go, and it's kind of hidden behind the panel. So can't see it very well, but boy, what else have I done? How about sway bar? Got the new electric disconnecting sway bar in. Let me see if I can get in there and show you the motor of that thing. But you can kind of see how there's a motor in the middle of that sway bar. So that is a disconnect switch, so we can turn the rear sway bar on and off, which I think is a huge advantage for King of the Hammers. So when we're out in the desert section and we're ripping, then hey, you know what I mean? We can just, we could turn that sway bar on, and as we get to the rocks, turn it back off. So I got it all set up in the gauges here. Get some light in here. You can see all the switches are all labeled out. Got our dyno jet gauges so I can watch air fuel ratios and stuff. Our gauge is all set in the middle. As you may recognize from the other video, got the steering column assembly all from a KRX in here with our steering wheel adapter and our steering wheel, and then even use the KRX passenger grab handle. So this is one of those spots that we're going to be putting all of our radios, our GPS, intercom, everything's going to kind of come up in here, and we'll be setting it here, and just everything should be central, but we're not going to need that unless we're racing, so we'll be able to easily unbolt it and remove it, which is cool. You guys can kind of see in there the fuel cell. So I still have to finish the tins and the floors and stuff, but fuel cell's all in there, encapsulated. I'm putting the fuel cell in the front, so it brings the weight down in the front, balances out the car better, climbs better, does better in the rocks, and it should be more controllable, you know, high speed through the desert. There's a Bosch fuel pump. We're not going to run the aftermarket KRX stuff. We got all Bosch. But of course, Corbeau race seats. I actually forget what they call these ones, but I call them the most comfortable race seats ever. They're super cool and comfortable. And then we're gonna have, of course, little trinkets, little door bags. You can put your cell phone in. We got fuses and other little miscellaneous tools. We have electric impact that will be underneath the front of the passenger seat. We'll of course have a tool bag, a jack. All those little things are gonna be figured out back here in this area, but it should work out pretty well. Of course, fire extinguishers. Still have a bunch of little things to do for the rules. They wanted some kind of mesh webbing back here in between the radiator and stuff as a kind of a splash shield. So I don't know. It's one of those things that we got to finish out the rule stuff, but you know, it should work. We have a lot to do. You know, I was just telling Chris this morning. I was like, you know, one of those things is I came out, I sat down on my list, I got the car in here. We just bring it out to Sand Hollow, and of course the last day, Chris was putting that in the mountain, by the way, so I don't know if you guys were watching that, but I was. And I was like, oh my God. So we took the car out to Sand Hollow, we set up at the rugged booth. The last day, the weather was crap. Rain and wind coming in with the sand sideways, dude, this thing was destroyed. Destroyed, I'm actually gonna remove the whole exhaust system off the car and suck it out and do everything because there was sand that was 3/8 of an inch thick inside the muffler tube. So it was kind of crazy. By the way, good guessing on that muffler. But yeah, so we got it back, cleaned up. It's officially in the shop. I was working on my list, and I have to say it was kind of depressing because my lists were pretty complete. And then I had a couple beers, was sitting in the car, you know, and playing. And I'm like, oh my God, I forgot that I have to finish the floors, or I have to finish these panels behind the seats. And then that list just got so long, in like 45 minutes. I'm like, bummer, man. I just had like 5 days of work. But hey, we're gonna get her done. Hopefully you guys like the content. We're gonna have a lot of other exciting things coming with this car and product intros, and hopefully we're gonna have some mobbing and rock crawling videos in this car. But hey, Kraken update part 4. This is Jake from Full Access UTV, guys. Please like and subscribe, hit that button. As Chris says, the bell, the ring, I don't know, whatever, the bell. Okay, I saw the bell. I never heard a ring though. But anyways, so the bell thing, please click like and subscribe. Me and my family greatly appreciate it. We greatly appreciate your guys' support. So hey, thanks for watching and have a good night.